Hello, I'm Annabelle, and welcome to Unbeautiful Things. Today I'm talking with Louise, who lost her brother 30 years ago, her mother 5 years ago, and is currently taking care of her father. Hi, Louise. Thank you so much for being with me here today. You lost your brother to a drowning incident 30 years ago. And how did you deal with such a great loss at the time? And has that loss changed in any way over the years, or does it get any easier?
So I was living in Berlin at the time with my husband and my two young children, and we got the call to say that he was missing, presumed drowned, and my parents had been approached by a policeman knocking on their door back in the UK. I was due to fly over during that week to visit my mother to take her to a hospital appointment. So I actually didn't sort of, I think, process the immediate thoughts. Um, you say over time, does it help? My main focus, I think, was obviously Graham going off to Peru on holiday and the possibility that he wouldn't come back. But I think I registered the point that I needed to be there for my parents. I've always been, as the youngest child, cared for my parents. So the thought was to make sure they were okay. And my husband was good, looking after my children, so I could fly back to the UK for as long as necessary to be with my parents. Over the time, has it healed? I think I am with my brother most days. Yes, I think over time, 30 years, it sort of softens, but the realization is still there. But
Yeah,
we
sure.
we all we all have ways of adjusting to a new situation.
Absolutely, because what a massive shock, it's all so sudden, something like that when it happens.
Mhm.
And I know you shared that your mother, you were a caretaker for your mother who
Mhm.
passed away of cancer 5 years ago, which must have brought a lot of challenges. And what was the most challenging part emotionally for you at the time?
I think as a nurse, obviously, I've been given lots and lots of skills over the years, and I think it's mainly to reach out to all. We have many groups, help centres at hospitals. Use every tool that you can to reach out to everybody. I think that's my tip, because the most frustrating point is just trying to get over. Is to probably get the best care with a limited availability. Does that make sense, Annabelle?
Absolutely. And was she at home, or was she was in a care home at that time?
No, she wasn't. That would be her the worst thought in her life to be. She wanted to die at home and she wanted to die before my father. So she got two of her wishes, which was wonderful. And I managed to make their dining room into sort of like a little hospital ward. So her and dad were in there with their hospital beds, to help the carers when they came in to help me. But I sort of stayed upstairs in the bedroom and got help wherever I could.
Okay, that's good that you had a lot of support, it seems like, at the good amount of support at the
Mm.
time.
Yeah.
And, so obviously losing your brother and your mother, big losses. Do you feel that during that time, obviously your brother is much longer time ago, but that you changed in any way, or your view of life changed in any way because of those losses?
Well, I think it brings awareness, doesn't it? Every day is a school day, and we learn how to navigate through these difficult pathways. But there's a lot of help out there, and many people going through it exactly the same. It's just that obviously these are elephants in the room, aren't they? People don't want to speak about anything generally that's hurting them. But there are lots of mechanisms and many books, lots of literature out there to read and digest.
Absolutely. There's lots of resources available. But I
Yeah.
know when I lost my father, I feel like the world is all the world is somehow tilted differently
Mm.
after losing him. You can't just pick up the phone and talk to
No,
them.
no, but I feel, do you, Annabelle? I mean, I feel I talk to them in my gardening and all of my ways. There isn't the actual physical getting together and sharing the things, but they're with you. I feel.
Sure, no, just in different form.
Yes, but yes,
Absolutely.
absolutely. Mm.
And my next question was, what guidance would you give others going through similar?
Mm.
But like you said, there are lots of resources available. I guess it's hard sometimes for people to reach out and actually ask for help, I think.
Yeah. But many times, if you've got hobbies or local groups or local community groups, they are a good starting point, aren't they? Or maybe churches, certainly hobbies,
Churches,
and
sure.
friends that you may speak. There's always somebody, or even at if you're waiting at a bus stop. Literally, I've spoken to so many people in my life, and and if you go to help somebody, they're always there with a little, a little message or a thought.
That's very true, actually. When you said meeting someone even at a bus stop, you do have sometimes one does have the most spontaneous, meaningful conversations sometimes with strangers.
Mm, mm, mm.
Quite,
Yeah. Yeah, we were getting a bus to Heathrow, and my husband always drops me at the bus stop in our little village. And there was a gentleman sitting there, and he immediately started to talk to me about he'd come in to come and see his brother at the local hospital. So I was able to say, well, we can give you a lift, because he was asking about taxi links. And from those connections, there's always somebody there who can offer a word, whether it be positive or negative at the time. It's always welcomed. Yeah.
or similar experiences we somehow
Yes.
track sometimes.
That's
Very.
right.
So I know your dad is currently in a care home, which, as we know, brings its own unique set of hurdles. What sorts of challenges do you face there with him, and then also with maybe with staff in general, or how it all
Um,
operates?
yeah, I think I am quite a persistent daughter. Obviously, we require the absolute finest for our precious ones, and I think sometimes the main thing is frustration. What is advertised is not always delivered, and there are many factors that are irritating with that. Um, I think again, it depends on the individual. I'm very fortunate that my father is very easy come, easy go, very mild mannered. He's done a very sort of professional. He was a professional at the BBC for many many years, and I think these skills he's built up to the ripe old age of 95. So he's very accepting. Not
95. What a
90.
wonderful age.
Yeah, and I think he's determined to make 100, and I do hope that he's able to stay in his care facility, because I know it comes with lots of other demands that are quite frustrating. I think that's my key word with it,
Frustrating.
frustrating.
Give me one or two examples of something you've encountered that you find frustrating.
I think it's genuinely some of the carers and caregivers attitudes to their clients, as it were, clients, patients. My father would call himself an inmate in the home, but I think it's always important for them to see that these beautiful people were something before they entered the facility. I think sometimes for some people it's just a job, but actually it is a precious being that requires the finest care. So that
Absolutely.
that would be my. I think it's the flippant, or maybe and sometimes that could be the weather. Maybe they're hot, maybe they're tired. The carers are not given enough time to care for these remarkable people, and that
Though, isn't it? Witnessing that.
it is. It's very upsetting, and I would imagine, having spoken to many other relatives, I would imagine lots of them maybe shed a tear when they get back in their car, or find it really tough.
Yeah, I know I have done for sure.
I Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So what are some of your favorite moments with your dad? Sorry, you were going to say something.
No, 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 not at all. I'm sure. No, it was my favourite moments, and I do appreciate these precious times, because we spend lots of time. He loves sitting in hot sun in the garden, and there
Mm.
is a beautiful garden there with lovely smelling roses. So we sit and hold hands. He's never been much of a communicator, so we literally just hold hands. Maybe do this little sort of tower game, which he does enjoy doing, and then periodically, when it springs to mind, he'll tell me about when he was a little boy, times with his dad and his brother, and then we do some reminiscing at
Isn't that
his level.
wonderful when that happens?
It's just, and for me, those moments are far outweigh the negativity of, because they are precious times that I can really appreciate.
they're like gold dust, I like to
They
call them.
are.
When my
They
mother starts reminiscing, they come out of nowhere.
Yes, yes.
Yeah,
And
I
you
go
wonder
right
how.
to them.
Yes, that absolutely. I have. We've gone through different family trees, and we've gone through different adventures. They were great adventurers, my parents. And so we talk about he did a lot of work in the Far East when he was an engineer, and so has this love of hot sun and sensible life. So we love an atlas. We love to look through an atlas and see where things are. So yeah.
That's so lovely.
Mm.
Do you ever feel, because I feel this sometimes, that my brain scrambles to ask all the questions that I want to ask before my mother isn't here anymore. Do you ever feel that with your father, like that the time is running out to ask all the questions that
Very,
you want to, or not really?
very much so.
Yeah,
Very much so, because there are times when as you said, gold dust. These times when we're sitting in the garden, they are few and far between. It might be that maybe he's too tired to chat, or he's really disturbed by something that's gone on with maybe not quite the right care, or so that's upset his sort of little pattern. So these are very precious moments, but when they happen, they really do. They give me a glow and a warm feeling. It's wonderful.
100%. I feel
Mm,
exactly the same way.
mm,
And
mm.
then last question I wanted to ask you, Louise. Do you feel in general like enough is spoken about the tragedy of seeing parents age and decline? And also, what would you want people, if there was anything, to know more about the experience of being a family caregiver?
I think really, everything in life appears so rushed, doesn't it? So these scenarios only really happen when a situation tragically changes, either a loss of one of the parents, or so I think mainly. Where can this information sort of be, where can we start with this information, with these with the likes of us? I guess, I don't know. Is it just that we're supposed to know progressively with it? Are we supposed to learn with it? Can we plan for this, or is it something that we learn on the job, as it were? I don't know.
I
Does
guess
that
on the
does that
job,
answer?
talking to other people, but I personally don't feel enough is spoken about. Like anticipatory grief is
Mm,
actually something
okay.
that I thought a lot about. I
Yeah.
don't know if you feel that with your father, but I definitely already feel sad, even though my mother is still here.
Yes.
That as well tied into just the tragedy of it all sometimes,
Mm,
seeing,
mm, mm,
you know,
Well, I suppose I feel that Dad is existing rather than living in the facility that he is at the moment. There
yeah,
are, and there's a big chunk of his life that he is missing out, I suppose, because of his circumstance. Does
exactly.
that?
And some days parents, like I know my mother has more pain some days than other days, and
Mm,
it's quite intense, and there's nothing really I can do about it. And I find that quite tragic. I leave often feeling such a tragic situation because my mother can't walk
no,
anymore. But
no.
yeah, I just haven't found, and people tend to remain quiet about it or don't want to talk about it much because it's an unbeautiful thing,
It
you know,
is.
a
It
lot of
is
it.
very much, very much. I think there should, well, maybe. I mean, this is wonderful, isn't it? Because we're both actually experiencing the same thing,
Yes, exactly.
and a problem shared is a problem halved.
Very true. And also
Mm,
just tying onto that, just quickly, that second part of that question, I think you don't really know what it's like until you've experienced it, which is
no.
applicable for everything in life, I
Mm,
think,
mm,
probably.
yeah, yeah.
Anyway, thank you. I appreciate you so
Thank
much
you.
being
Not
on
at all.
Unusual Things, and thank you for your time and sharing some of your journey, Louise. And thank you all of you for watching.
Thank you,
Bye.
Annabelle. Take care. Bye.